you ready to kickstart your week with some dirt-slinging and tire-slaying action motorsports radio that packs the biggest gas?
Hi, Ken Block here.
Hey, my name's Jolene Van Butte.
What's up, Brian Deegan here.
Vaughn Ginn Jr. here.
They've been thrown into one show that has broken down the barriers of what a motorsports radio show should be. This is the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, with support from General Tire, KMC Wheels, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish, Gibson Exhaust, and MTX Audio, with your host, who also happens to spend his weekends flying 800 horsepower trucks through the dirt, Jim Beaver.
When was the last time you saw an off-road or rally driver begging to get behind the wheel of a NASCAR IndyCar? Yep, not happening, but you sure see these pavement racers begging to drive our cars.
And his partner in crime every week, a self-proclaimed Canadian moto chick who was jumping triples and taking podiums before most guys even learned to ride. Amy Hood.
No one knows how to say my last name. Like, is it really that hard? Amy Hood. Like I'm from the hood. Don't get it twisted.
Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to join us as we take you through a motorsports ride like no other. Here is the man who carries a steering wheel in one hand and a mic in the other, Jim Beaver.
Good morning and welcome to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, and this is episode number 200. I can't believe I'd ever be saying that, to be honest with you. I think we're well over 200 episodes by now, and you count our remote shows, but this is like the 200th Monday, almost in a row. We've been here live on the Down and Dirty Radio Show. So those of you tuning in through online, through one of our amazing syndicates, thank you guys for helping us reach a milestone. I don't know many shows that make it 200 episodes, especially weekly shows, but we have done it. We are here, and here is to 200 more. It's I'm not going to say it's been easy. It's definitely been a grind, but when this started out, it was just something as a hobby, and I was going to do it, just as something kind of fun on the side. It's become a full-time job, and I'm just a small-town kid, to be honest with you. I'm flying around the country now, hosting motorsports events and, meet amazing people. I've got some amazing friends, doing radio and, grabbing the mic and sometimes in front of the TV. But I got to tell you, this is a, true story here. I grew up in a middle-class family, and it's a great thing about this country. You have an idea, you have a concept, you want to put in the time and, and energy, and you can definitely make it work. You hear all these inspirational quotes all the time on social media and stuff, and it's absolute truth. You can make anything happen. You just got to put in the time. So, any of you listening in, you kind of have an idea in your head and, I don't know if it'll ever work. You know what? Give it a try, bust your butt and sometimes it's going to cost you a little blood, sweat, and tears, but anything good generally does. So thank you guys for helping, us reach episode number 200. We got some really exciting news coming up for next year. Hopefully we can drop that in the next month or so, but lots of good stuff coming at you for sure. We are definitely not going away. Wanted to make mention, though, over I don't want to say over the weekend, but into last week, Bruce Cook, good friend of ours at the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Bruce, Nitro Circus fame, we all know, Smile for BC, hashtag Smile for BC. If you're a Nitro Circus fan, you know Bruce's story. Bruce, first ever adaptive backflip last week in Nitro Circus, the tour up in Canada. So congrats goes out to Bruce. I know we're going to try and get him on air soon. But speaking of guest number one on the line right now, my good friend Dave Mirra. How's everything going, Dave?
Jim, what's going on, bud? How you been?
Oh, man, it's episode number 200, and I'm stoked to have you on air with us, buddy.
Dude, that's rad. Yeah, I was pretty surprised. I've been kind of out of the loop, but always nice to talk to old friends,
Yeah, well, we put it out there, and I don't know, it's been, I think, maybe 2 years since we've had you on air, but I put it out on one of the shows. I said, hey, some of our past guests, who do you guys want on air? And, literally, I got hit with a flood of messages on social media and stuff. We want to hear Dave. We want to see what Dave's doing. I'm like, well, I'll shoot him a text and see if we can get Dave on and find out what's going on.
Oh, sick. That's cool to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of a little downtime now for me. Did a lot of training this year, pretty hard. Ironman stuff, man, that's something else. But I had a blast. It was good. Now kind of scratching my head thinking, what's next?
Yeah. Well, talk about the training for that, because I mean, you've always, even back, in your BMX days, you were one of the first guys that really, started lifting weights and put in a fitness program. But this Ironman stuff is totally different level. I mean, what goes into training for Ironman? I mean, it's just it's crazy.
Well, for the full Ironman, I basically left my family and went up to Syracuse to train for 6 weeks so I could just be, just like solo and just fully focused. And basically, I would ride, say Monday would be probably an hour and 15-minute swim, maybe an hour spin on the bike. Tuesday would be a 4-hour bike ride, maybe a 30-minute run. Wednesday would be a swim focus and usually a longer run focus. Thursday would be another 4-hour bike. Friday would be a big swim day, hour 15 to an hour and a half. Saturday would be a 5 to 6 hour bike ride, and then 50-minute run off the bike. So right when you get done with 6 hours on a bike, and then you go run for 6-7 miles right after, it's crazy. They're like 9-hour days. When you're stopping to get drinks and all that, and then Sunday would be a 20-mile run. Hard stuff. I mean, insane. Just back to back to back, and it's brutal, but it's pretty rad because you're accountable, and on race day, you don't blame yourself really if you're having a bad day. So
yeah, to me, I mean, it's just crazy what you guys go through. I know you've been lucky enough. I know your kids are you'll go out riding and or running, and they'll go along with you a lot of the times, right?
Yeah, I'll do that. Like, what's cool is that we'll be in the neighborhood, and they'll do, if I got to run, like, my neighbor's like 3 miles, back and forth. If I do like 3 miles, they'll ride with me, and then they'll get off their bikes and they'll run like a little small, like, half-mile block. So they get a little bit of it, which is cool. And we got like a challenge right now. I said it's 100 days in a row. They got to run on the treadmill like 5 minutes or a half mile. And so it's not like I'm sitting there grinding them out and making them, but it's more about the accountability. And I said, if you guys, whoever finishes it, I'll give you get $100, $1 a day, but you got to finish the 100. And if you miss a day, you got to start over. So we're all struggling. I think Maddie right now is winning. She's on like 8 or 9 days, but we all, sometimes you miss a day, and it's really about, I'm just teaching them accountability and just seeing if they can get through it. So it's pretty awesome. Little fun stuff like that,
Yeah, well, and I think that's, the case with anything. It's about following through and making yourself accountable, and you're not going to get any results unless you dedicate yourself to it, right?
That's right, totally. And I think for kids that young, like, I'm not into trying to get them to grind out long runs and be in pain and hate it, but a half mile or 5 minutes is not really that much, but it's about just getting the work done. And what I think is so cool, Jim, is that they will come home and run up there and do, Dad, I'm going to go do my run quick. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, I'm not asking them to do it. I don't, they just will go do it because they know that was on their mind. And that's what's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they'll just go up there, get on the treadmill by themselves, and go run.
Yeah. Well, and how has it been for you? I mean, kind of, I know, talking about the family and kids and stuff like that. I mean, it's got to be pretty cool for you. I mean, obviously, I know you talked about going up to Syracuse and training and spending a little bit of time away from them. But, it's got to be kind of cool to be, this stage in your life, still be pretty young, be able to go out and do stuff. But, be able to spend time with your family, not have to worry about this sponsor obligation or making this plane flight here. I mean, it's kind of what you want to do. It's not, what everybody else wants Dave to do.
Yeah, it was, I said when I turned 40, I wanted to, I said, I wasn't really happy with a lot of, if we go back to the rallycross stuff and, there got a point when obligations and things out of your control, and I felt like a lot of things were just making me unhappy, and I just said, when I turn 40, I'm done with everything that I've done in the past, and I'm going to go and see what happens moving forward, and, I really have, luckily just got my first paycheck from Cervelo, who is a road bike company, top end road bikes and T bikes, and they paid me this year to represent them But other than that, it's been almost 2 years, and I said, wow, this is getting a little scary, But I just said, I'm kind of unhappy with, especially with things out of your control, and you're just you sometimes just feel like a puppet, and you're like, you know what, maybe this isn't right now. I think it takes a lot of courage sometimes to say, I'm done, I'm going to move on. I'm not going to just keep milking things, whether it was, me and BMX, if I wanted to stay around and just keep competing at a lower level than I would be used to or wanna, just to keep making money. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not really into that. So maybe it's not the best idea all the time, but my biggest thing was just being true to yourself at this point. I've had an amazing BMX career. Loved it. It was a dream. It was way more than I ever thought I would end up. So. Now to have a family and be around, like you said, like I'm here, I can take them to school every day. I'm with them all the time, and it's, I don't travel very well anymore. Like if it's leaving for 6 weeks to train, they understand that. But if it's like just jumping around, always leaving every week, I just not into it, and maybe it'll happen again sometime, But right now it's I'm in a healthy sport. I love it, and the people are awesome. So it's a pretty big change, but pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Well, talking about rallycross, I know you don't want to skip back earlier this year. You did, you've been out of a rallycross car for a bit. You spent some time with Subaru, then you jumped in the Mini, and you were ridiculously fast. You kind of took a year off, and then how did the RX thing happen in Europe earlier this year? Because I know you and Danny Way went over there and ran the Minis.
Yeah, so JRM got a hold of me and said, hey, we'd love you to come over. We want to try to develop the Mini. We have, a slot in the series this year, so we want to use them. So they flew Danny and I over, and we raced. And to be honest, the cars over there in that series, there's like 16 cars that are just ridiculous. So the Mini, although it was underpowered in 2013 in GRC, it was still drivable. Clearly I loved it. Unbelievable car. Love it. But you go over to, and maybe that's just the progression what's going on right now. They haven't done much with that car until me and Danny came over, and that car really, the super cars over there are just, they're 16 smoking fast cars. A lot different. But it was great. It was an awesome opportunity. They had some ideas for next year, but to be honest, I didn't really bank too much on moving, forward. If something happened, I just think it's almost unrealistic to go to 13 or 14 races in Europe and somehow make it work dollar for dollar. That's a big one right there. So I haven't heard much, so I'm just kind of sitting back. But it was fun, definitely really cool. I love Europe. It was awesome to go over there.
Yeah,
but it seems like a pretty big stretch to get that series. You know how it is. With your trucks and racing, and dude, it's not easy to fund a program. You're pretty lucky if you can get it funded,
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't think a lot of people looking in realize even at elite levels, whether it be rallycross or Formula D or even in Supercross, there's a lot of guys dipping into their own pockets to go racing, and I don't think people realize that. They see stickers all over everything, and they just don't realize how expensive it truly is to go racing.
No, I know, you're right. And look at, even back to my Subaru days, and that was when I decided to walk away from Subaru. You don't realize, people just don't realize. That's what's so crazy to me, is that they put it all on the driver, and clearly Subaru just doesn't have the you think Subaru, okay, they got a ton of money, their budgets are huge, that car must be just as good as everybody else. Well, they're not. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I just think that, you got cars coming over from Europe that have been developed for 10, 15 years, and those guys know 2-liter motors over in Europe. You bring them over, and people, it's funny how it gets crazy, because I know Lance and the crew, they work so hard, but I know they're I'm not sure how they're doing this year. I don't see too much, but, it's tough. It's tough to get that car up to where the other cars are at. Remember when the Fords came over in 2009? That was right there, was a whole different measuring stick. Yeah. It's tricky. It really is. And that Subaru, which is, one of the big companies. I mean, that's, it's not easy for those guys to develop a car by the snap of a finger to come in and compete at the and start taking over. I mean, it's there's a lot that goes into racing, I think, that's misunderstood.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, at this point, if something was to open, it was the right fit, I mean, you still open to going back and say racing, global rallycross if the right team and the right opportunity came along?
If it came along, I think I'd definitely look into it and be pretty positive with it. I mean, why not? I mean, racing's so much fun. But I think, all in all, it just has to be the right fit for both parties. You know what I mean? So nobody feels like there's, somebody's not getting the fair handshake. Or I think that's the biggest thing is that when, and I'm sure you've seen it in trucks and cars, I've seen it, forced relationships, the budgets aren't really there to, it doesn't really work, align for either the driver or the team, and then it just turns into a mess. I mean, you want to represent the team and drive well, and you want your name. If you're driving, you want to make sure you're respected as a driver. But sometimes I think it's tricky. But it has to be a right fit for sure. But I'm never say never.
Yeah. For sure. Well, I want to go back and and talk. I know we were talking about kind of Ironman and some of the triathlons you're doing, but I want to skip back about a year. Race Across America. I know you actually came through my hometown when you guys did that, but talk about that experience, man, because I wasn't super familiar with this race until you did it, and I kind of followed along the whole way. But I mean, you as a as an athlete, I mean, how strenuous was that on your body?
That was a crazy one because that almost was like going back into the first years of traveling, low budget. I mean, we had literally no budget for this thing, and it was, so me and Dave Zabriskie we would ride and share 4 hours together. So 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off, 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off for 4 hours. And then Dave and I would hop in the RV, and then Ben and Mickey would go out for 4 hours. And do their 20-minute on, 20-minute off. So imagine 5 days and 12 hours, and that was the schedule. It was ridiculous. And the RV was just, I mean, it was just, there was like 13 people in there. The AC kind of wasn't working great. Going through the desert. So imagine coming in, your shower was a baby wipe. I mean, for almost 5 days. I think we got one hotel room on one of our breaks to take a real shower. Other than that, it was pretty much baby wipes. I mean, it was gnarly. But it was also, on the flip side, it was pretty cool because I never really thought we were going to make it. I was like, okay, we're in Denver or Colorado. Okay, wow. I just put it all. I mean, it was almost like you were just disconnected from the world. And all you did was just ride and just try to take a rest, take a rest, and it was wild. Like one of those things where people are like, man, would you ever do it again? I'm like, well, that sounds kind of cool. And I'm like, I don't know if I'd ever want to do that again. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it gets to a certain point when you're doing that event, and you lose track of where you're even at in the country, right? I mean, you see it just keeps going by, and it's like you get tunnel vision almost, right?
Oh, totally. I mean, it totally was like that, to the point where you'd be in Kansas in the middle of the night riding, which I loved riding in the middle of the night. There'd be very little cars, like Kansas. I don't know how this worked out, but a brand new paved road, 50-mile-an-hour crosswinds, but it made it fun. Yeah. A van following you, and I'm like, man, Dave, let's stay out here for early. Let's do another couple hours. You wanna? And but yeah, then you'd wake up the next day and you'd be like, what was crazy is that you would be in a whole, like, it's a trip to think in a car you can make that much, headway across the country. But you're on bikes riding and you're like, whoa, I cannot believe it. So it got exciting around 800 miles from Maryland. That's when, and you think 800 miles on a road bike and you're like, but it seemed like nothing. At that point it was like, wow, we're almost home. Yeah. Let's hit it. Definitely a cool experience for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah, I remember tracking it, and they had some pretty cool tracking stuff. And, I wake up every morning, and before I went to bed, I'd check on, where you guys were at. And it's like watching the dot go across the country. And like you said, to me, just outside of looking in, it was pretty amazing how quick you guys were making time.
Isn't that crazy? I know that amazes me, too, is that, and what's cool is, Jim, a lot of people, my friends and family, a lot of people are following, like, getting up in the middle of the night, checking it. They were like, dude, they couldn't come unglued from it. And I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. And nobody really knows about that race either, I mean, it's almost like, man, it's a pretty dynamic race, and not many people even know much about it.
No, what was funny
and I didn't either.
Yeah, I mean, you guys came through my hometown. You literally rode a half a block from my house with the way the road cut, and it was like 12:30 in the morning, and I'm standing out, out there in my shorts, like half a block from my house, watching you guys go by, and I'm like, here's, one of the most grueling bicycle races in the world, and nobody even knows it's going on.
That's insane. Where's your hometown?
Parker, Arizona.
Okay, really? We came right there. That's awesome,
yeah,
dude.
No, you literally. I could stand in my front yard and watch everybody go by. It was just so random the way it worked out.
Well, that's cool. What's pretty rad, Jim, is that this was pretty cool. It was rare, but it was pretty cool. There was actually people that would be on the side of the road hanging out, watching, with signs in some towns, random, and it was, like I said, it wasn't much, but it was still pretty cool. Definitely lifted your spirit that people actually cared,
Yeah, for sure.
But it was awesome, man. But I don't know. That was a big feat, but we'll see. I think the Ironman was in some ways hurt more.
I can.
And it was only one day.
Yeah, I can only imagine, man. So what's next for you? I mean, what's on the horizon? Obviously, coming into the winter months and stuff like that. You got anything planned?
You know what? I'm gonna get back into training for sure. I've been slacking, but I'm gonna get back and reevaluate next year. I definitely want to do some 70.3s next year and just try to, definitely race more triathlon. But other than that, I really don't have much else on the radar. It's kind of a triathlon now. Maybe try to qualify again.
Yeah, well, and on the racing side of things, I mean, I know, to move back into rallycross, have to be the right fit with the right team. I mean, you ever thought about any of the arrive and drive stuff, like like Stadium Super Trucks or Terracross, where you're everybody's in the same vehicle, and you just show up and drive?
If I was out west more, I probably would be. I think I'm so disconnected being out here. I feel like, although there are some teams in Charlotte, I feel like it's just totally out of the loop. I mean, it seems like West Coast, a lot of the stuff is pretty prevalent. Like you can probably race every week, I would imagine, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Or close to it.
Yeah.
Out here, it's like I feel so disconnected. Like North Carolina, where I live, I mean, if I was on the west side, maybe it'd be different, but where I'm at, it's like you just don't hear. It's just not really. There's not many people doing stuff. Maybe there's a couple motocross tracks around here, but that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got to ask you too. I've been, I honestly, I go out and ride my bike with my daughter here and there, and we hit the skate park maybe once a week. But I'm not on it like I used to be. But what's your current take on, on the state of BMX, and I mean, and even what some of these guys, I know Red Bull Rampage just went down with the mountain bike side of things. I mean, what's your take on the current level of riding and in both BMX and mountain biking?
I mean, it's pretty insane. Actually, I just watched that one. Was that up in Whistler? The
Joyride, yeah.
What was that last one? Whistler. Dude, that's sick. For the mountain bike stuff, that's pretty sick. I think the level of BMX as well. These kids, I mean, it's pretty rad. There's a few European guys that I love, I follow and still watch. And, man, it's crazy. I love it. It's amazing. I don't know. I went up to Nora Cup, gave Ramp Driver of the Year award away. That was pretty cool. Went out and stayed with TJ Lavin and hung out for a couple days. That was pretty cool. But I don't follow a ton because I don't know really what X Games. Park doesn't seem like it used to be. It's more skate park stuff or cement, and it's cool. But I definitely don't follow as much. Maybe being so heavy into it for so many years, but there are a few guys that love it. Amazing. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah,
and they're consistent too, and they don't wear a full face helmet. They don't get hurt. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's I know he's a friend of yours, but you watch a guy like Daniel Dares, and he's just a machine, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Daniel's a machine, and then you see these Alex Colburn over in Europe. I mean, these guys are insane.
Yeah.
But back to the mountain biking too. I think that mountain biking is pretty awesome. It's just like a huge dirt jump contest.
Yeah.
And some of the kids are doing stuff that's like, I mean, they definitely were BMXers for sure. At one point, you can tell that in their riding.
Yeah.
I think it looks pretty sick. Downhill dirt jump comp. That's rad.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Well, before I let you go, I do have to say I got a text from Street Bike Tommy yesterday, and he's like, "Dude, you got Dave on air. You gotta tell him what's up from me." He's like, "I love Dave. He's such a rad guy." So I know Tommy's listening in today, so I just had to give a shout out for Street Bike Tommy to Dave Mirra, man. He was texting me last night, and he was just amped you're going to be on the show.
That's cool. Well, if Tommy's listening, man, what's up, Tommy? It's been a long time, but I'll tell you a story. One time, Jim, Tommy came down to Greenville, North Carolina. The town loved him, man. He was dancing all over the bars, the college bars here, and everybody loved him. It was awesome.
Yeah.
he probably needs to come back down again.
Yeah, he's. I know I'm gonna make a trip out there at some point. I think the start of next year or something like that. Maybe we'll have to make a road trip out and catch up or something.
Yeah, for sure. Are you gonna hit all the? On the House ERC going, you're hitting all those, right? Are you on site pretty much every one still?
No, we did that and kind of ran its course. I'm working with Rally America this year and obviously racing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of a brand ambassador for Polaris. So I'm doing a bunch of stuff with the Razor brand. And, I'm still making it out to GRC when I can, but I'll be out at SEMA. But, not like I used to. Not that I don't want to. It's just, other opportunities open up.
Yeah, no, I hear you totally. That's good, though, keeping busy and – that's awesome, Jim, man. Well, I appreciate you reaching out to me, man. That was definitely a surprise, but really psyched you did.
All right. No, appreciate it, buddy. And anytime, we'd love to have you back, anytime you got something to talk about. So just hit me up, and, we'll definitely talk soon. And when I make my way out there, we'll definitely catch up.
Hit me up for sure, man. Love it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dave.
Jim, have a good day.
Yeah, you too, buddy. All right. That was Dave Mirra. Just absolute legend, BMX, rallycross, now he's into triathlons and Ironman and, just an awesome guy, guy I got a ton of respect for and, both, the way he's carried his career and now, how he's, become the family man, just definitely a good guy. But we're going to take a short break. We come back, episode number 200. We got my good friend Joe Duncan going to be calling in, and we're going to be talking a little bit of Terracross, Camp Razor, Glamis, finale, all going down on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
I'm Polaris rider Levi LaValle, and I choose Polaris just because they have the best quality, highest performing, most fun machines out there.
Only one company has taken Levi LaValle to 10 X Games medals, snowcross championships, a double backflip, and a world record long jump of 412 feet across the San Diego Harbor on New Year's Eve, and that company is Polaris. Whether it's dominating the X Games, racing a stock Polaris Razor XP1000 in the Terracross Championship, or just hitting the trail on the weekend, for over 20 years, Levi has relied on the same quality Polaris vehicles and products you can purchase at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of action sports legend Levi LaValle and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris vehicles or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XD Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XD Series wheels at kmcwheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports. The sound at the racetrack. And the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, episode number 200. That's right, we are about a quarter of the way through episode number 200. Just got done with the legend himself, Mr. Dave Mirra. Oh, man, awesome to have Dave back on air after a couple of years. And, he's been a bit quiet, but, not quiet. He's still out there on social media, but, he's kind of taking a step in a different direction with his career. But still, man, a guy I've got a ton of respect for, when he's got the helmet on and when he doesn't. And, he's great to catch up with him. And he's one of those guys, anything he puts his mind to, he's been successful, whether it be rallycross or, BMX, obviously, to kick things off and where he made his name. And now, Ironman and triathlons, and just a solid dude. And, here's hoping we see him with the steering wheel in his hand sometime soon again for sure. But, yeah, right now, waiting on my good friend Joe Duncan to call in from Terracross. Going to be talking about that finale. And then we got Brendan Reeves, who I recorded an interview with late last week. He was on his way from Australia to Spain to compete in the World Rally Championship. And we'll give ourselves a little shameless promotion, but the Down and Dirty Radio Show is going to be on the bonnet of that Fiesta he's running in the WRC this coming weekend in Spain. So we are, I guess, a sponsor on that car, but looking forward to seeing how Brendo does. But right now we got Joe Duncan on the line. How's everything going, Joe?
You know what, Jim? Things are going amazing. How about yourself?
Episode number 200, buddy. I guess 200 Mondays ago I would have never figured I'd be in this position, but here we are, right?
Congratulations. That's awesome.
No, it's honestly what's made things happen is, being able to work with amazing, companies and guys like yourself who we get partnered together and do some amazing things, and how things are. Things just take off from there. So, thanks for your support of the show.
Always. And, you guys supporting us and Terracross and helping us to grow as well. It's a big team effort. Love it.
Yeah. For sure. So, speaking of team efforts, I know, obviously, fans know that the round in Charlotte ended up being an exhibition round, and the announcement for Terracross was going to be at a later date. You were going to, announce the finale, and talk about a bomb being dropped to Camp Razor right in the middle of 100,000 people on Halloween weekend. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than that.
You know what? It really doesn't. I can't thank Polaris and all the group over there and Six Speed for helping us to pull this together and make this happen. It's just we got thrown for a loop with Charlotte. Although for a Terracross experience, it turned out to be great working with Charlotte Motor Speedway and their staff and everything. A rainstorm, pure mud. Everybody had an absolute great time there. We pulled off a race. It was fun, but now you spin it out. Halloween weekend, Camp Razor. We've talked about it for over 2 years, about doing something at a Camp Razor event. And fortunately for us, some things were going on. They were trying to figure out some entertainment for there. And, well, you bring in some of these top Terracross guys and throw them out in a bunch of sand. It's going to be some definite entertainment.
Yeah, it's, I guess this definitely ups the celebrity race that Camp Razors have been known for in the 170s, that's for sure.
I think we're definitely gonna add to it, that's for sure. She's starting to look like a very fun field coming in for Terracross. We got some big new names that are going to be released here shortly. Unfortunately, a couple of the snowmobile guys are deep into their winter prep, and guys like Chris Brandt and Levi LaValle, we just found out that they've got some winter stuff they need to take care of. And with the event getting pushed back so far, they're not going to be able to make it. But when you see and hear the names that are going to be released here shortly at terracrossracing.com, it is going to be cool. We just got back from Monster Energy Cup in Vegas and met with some of these guys, and they're going to come down and have some fun at Camp Razor down there at Glamis.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, me as a driver being in the series, this year, seeing the guys come in and some of them, obviously haven't been able to run all the rounds. And I know, you mentioned Levi and Chris, and I know I'm one of them that's going to have to miss, one of the rounds this year. But everybody's got a smile. I mean, I've been asked by so many people, why do you want to go do, Terracross? You got a trophy truck. And I'm like, this is literally the most fun I have ever had behind the wheel of a race vehicle. So much fun. I think for drivers, they do it once and it gets your hooks, the hooks in you.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the original business model, is that this isn't about racing. Racing is just part of what we do, and it's a tool that we use. But the big picture is it's about the athletes, and it's about the camaraderie. It's about the CBS Sports Television and making a great show. And the racing is just the element that goes along with it, and it's not focused on just the racing. And it's somewhat an invite only and an exclusive group that get to come out, and you don't have mechanics, you don't have trucks and trailers, you don't have all the other headaches that you deal with the other racing, and you get to come and have some fun, and you get to get in these amazing Polaris Razor XP 1000 and go out there and run on a course that Jason Luberg and Dana Creech and Hubert Rowland, they build it to have fun on. They don't build it for, hey, here you go race. They're on the course, so they make it as challenging, as fun as it possibly can be. Multiple lines all over the course, as you know, huge obstacles like the Mystic Mangler, and it just becomes a great time and a great experience.
Yeah, and that's the truth. I mean, I come, I fly into an event, I go, I have fun. I mean, we all, bash and bang on the course, and afterwards, we go out and have a couple of drinks and, do it all again the next day. And you guys are constantly throughout the weekend, changing the course, not, just for better racing. I mean, if one line gets to be a little bit faster, okay, let's make that one a little bit tougher. You know what I mean? And and that way by the finals, I mean, it literally, there's so many different race lines. There's so many ways to get around the course. It's I don't really know of anything else in motorsports like it.
Well, that was our goal. I mean, as you know, unfortunately or fortunately, I've been doing this a very long time, and that was one of our goals. You look at Rallycross, and you got the Joker lap in there, and that's great, but that's one spot on the entire course that if it's a one-lane course, that's the only place you really get an opportunity to pass unless you're, bumping somebody out of your way. But with Terracross, our goal is to have basically Joker lanes or laps all the way around the course. So when you are out there racing, there's options. And if that guy in front of you is a little slower, you can get into a different lane and you can pass them. You can pick a lane that you're fastest in, but the guy next to you, he might be faster in the other lane. So when it comes to TV and it comes to the spectators, there's great racing action. And that's what we all look for. It doesn't matter what motorsport, what form of racing, what it is. The goal is to have passing and competition. And if it's a one-line course, it doesn't matter what kind of racing it is. It's no fun. If it's no fun for the racers, it's no fun for the spectators, and it's definitely no fun for the TV audience.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of TV audience, I got to say, I mean, part of the draw to Terracross, I think for everybody is, this amazing TV package you guys have with CBS Sports. I've been racing trophy trucks for, I don't know how long at this point. We've got TV package. I air on TV. Nobody cares. I don't hear anything. I've had more people tell me they've seen me on TV racing these, my Polaris RZR and Terracross, the past month or two than I ever have racing my trophy truck. And to me, that's a feather in your cap, buddy, because, I'm getting feedback from people, on the street walking up to me, and I never got that with the trophy truck.
It's not me. It's our whole team. It's the athletes that are getting the word out there. It's the great CBS network sport package that we got in a great times primetime television on Sunday nights. Last night another one aired, and wow, the response that we're getting from it is amazing. We have an amazing production company that does a great job. Unfortunately, on a shoestring budget, as you know, we're always looking for more partners to come on board so we can do things bigger and better. But honestly, they do a job of X Games caliber on a website budget, and it just comes out very, very well. We have great cameramen, we have a great production team, in-house team. We have an amazing group of staff, and of course, going back to the athletes, and everybody's in it for the same reasons, and I think that's why. I mean, I think everybody working together, just the camaraderie is what makes it grow as it is.
Yeah, for sure. So, I know we're cut short on time today, buddy, but Camp RZR, I mean, people wanting to come out, I mean, where can they get information on it? What can they expect? What days is racing going down? I mean, give us the details.
Quick rundown on Terracross is Wednesday, 4 to 6 is our practice and seating, closed to the public. Friday morning, like 11 o'clock is our round 5 qualifying, and I believe 5 o'clock is round 6 qualifying, and then Saturday is a crazy, crazy good day. 10 o'clock till like 11:30 is round 5 LCQ and finals, and under the lights, under the Musco lighting, television coverage lighting, Saturday night, 8:30 to 10 p.m., Glamis Beach Store, Sand Dunes, Camp RZR Polaris, we get to lock up our championship. And Jason Luberg, RJ Anderson, Cole Coutu, Mickey Thomas, these guys are in a battle for the championship, and it's going to go down under the lights on CBS Sports Network. I don't know how it gets much better for us than that.
I don't think it does. I'm just hoping that, this, which I think it will, opens up the door, for next year and in years down the line, because I think this is a proper finale, for the Terracross Championship there at Camp RZR. I mean, I think it's going to be a win-win for everyone.
It is, and I think we've got some course building, learning to do. We're going to be building in the sand, but I think we have some of the best course builders to really make this thing a great event. We've got some little tricks up our sleeves. My partner Jeremy and I just went down there and did a site survey, and it looks even better than it did in our original meetings. Tim Gantz and the great crew at the Glamis Beach store, can't thank them enough for helping us pull this off, and the whole area down there supporting us, the county and everybody just getting behind us. They pulled off some stuff that really we never should have been able to pull off, and everybody got together, and again Polaris and their whole team over there and Six Speed just making this happen last minute, and it is going to be one of the biggest, coolest events that the Terracross has ever had, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. Well, we'll definitely, as news breaks, maybe we'll have to do, obviously we'll do another preview next Monday here on the show, but, looking forward to Camp Razor Glamis and seeing how things shape up.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Thanks for having us on board. And again, all the information will be up at terracrossracing.com or Terracross Championship on Facebook and Instagram, or, of course, Camp Razor. For all the Camp Razor details, head on over there and check it out. They have one heck of a Halloween full field of festivities on October 31st out there.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Joe, and we'll definitely keep shouting that out.
Thanks, Jim. Congrats on 200.
All right, thanks, my friend. We'll talk soon.
All right. See you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, that was Joe Duncan with the Terracross Championship. I know we're cramming a lot into this episode number 200. We got David Higgins coming on at the top of the hour, but right now we're going to cut to an interview I did with Brendan Reeves on WRC Spain right now. All right, catching up with my next guest, I'd like to welcome to the line Mr. Brendan Reeves. How's everything going, Brendo?
Yeah, great, thanks, mate. Nice and sunny today.
Yeah, well, I gotta ask. I know last time we caught up, you were running an M Sport car at the New England Forest Rally. Got a victory there. And then here we are a couple months later, and you're headed off to WRC Spain. You got to be pretty excited.
Oh, I'm over the moon, Jim. I haven't been competing much this year, so when I got to go to America and compete, that was a hell of a lot of fun, and we got a great result, and now we're taking the same car over to Spain to do a mixed surface rally, both gravel and tarmac, and Rhiannon will be co-driving for me, so it's going to be a lot of fun, and expectations are high because we haven't done the WRC since 2012, so it's a lot of pressure, but we're going to throw everything at it and have a lot of fun too.
Yeah, well, do you think, that run with M Sport there at New England Forest Rally, was that... do you kind of feel like that was, led to this ride? It was like, oh, hey, we remember Brendan. It's sometimes out of sight, out of mind. But, do you think that victory and being able to run the car there, it puts you back on the radar?
I think you need to stay out and compete as much as you can, for sure. And that's where this year's been so difficult. So to go do that rally in America, and we made it look easy, but it actually wasn't easy. And that was a head start driving this car because it's a new R2, which is only 1 litre turbo, and that's the same car that we'll be doing in the Drive D-Max. So it's at least I've driven the car now, and I know what to expect, and I know when to change the gears to maximise the traction and the boost, and I think that'll really help me come Spain.
Yeah, well, and how did this with Spain, come about? Because I know. I got an email, I think, from Rhiannon, I don't know, it was well over a month ago at this point, and this opportunity, opened up, but I know it was still a matter of funding and things like that. How did this whole process come into play?
Yeah, so it only did come up quite short time ago. Basically, Will Hudson had been competing in the Drive D-Mac with Alex Gelsomino co-driving, and Will was pulling out of the last round, so we spoke to Will, and Rhiannon had been sort of help managing his team, and we come together with a deal between Will and M Sport and D-Mac that we would come and do the last round in the car that he'd been competing in. So it's been really nice getting this deal together and really having something to aim for towards the end of the year, and hopefully it can help set us up for next year too.
Yeah, well, and I know, because of the way this kind of came together, you haven't had any seat time in the particular car you're going to be running at WRC Spain, but it's pretty much the same exact car you ran at NEFR, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So we won't have driven this car before. We'll get a very short test on gravel once we get to Spain, but we'll do no testing on tarmac. And the rally has about 125 odd kilometres, so say 80 miles on gravel, and then there's about 200 kilometres on tarmac, which is the Saturday, Sunday. And it's probably about 140 miles of tarmac. So it's going to be a good mixed conditions. You usually don't get that in a rally where the service crew on the Friday night have an hour and a half to completely change the car from gravel setup to tarmac. So that's brakes, suspension, wheels. Other cars like World Rally cars will do gearboxes and diffs. Our cars we'll keep the same, but it's a lot still to do if you don't have any damage on top of that to fix also.
Yeah, it's quite an undertaking. I mean, you as a driver, I know you've got a ton of experience, with gravel rallies. How about tarmac? I mean, are you looking forward to being able to run some tarmac, coming up?
I really am. I've never ran this car on tarmac and never driven on the DMAC tyres on tarmac, but I've done quite a few tarmac rallies back in Australia. We have the Target Tasmania, which is about a 400-mile race around Tasmania, and it's quite an amazing event. So I did that 4 times with Mazda Australia, and then I've competed in some other hill climbs and also a few WRC events back in 2011 and 2012 in the 1.6-litre Fiesta R2. So I do know quite a bit about tarmac. It will just be refreshing myself because I haven't done a tarmac event for 3 years, and these new tyres will have to set the car up to, and I won't have that chance. It'll be setting it up on the fly on the stages when I come to the first stage on Saturday morning.
Yeah, well, and it's got to feel good to you. I mean, obviously, Rhiannon has been your co-driver for a long time. I mean, a few rallies here and there aside. I mean, it's got to be pretty exciting having her back in the car with you.
Yeah, it's going to be great, really. Like when I come and competed in America, I had another co-driver, Anthony McLaughlin, because Rhiannon was already co-driving for Nick Roberts and contracted to him. So it'll be really good because we started off together. She's my sister, and we've worked from the ground up, and got to where we did the last couple of years, and we've been really happy with that. So it'll be awesome to have her back in the car, and it really gels. And I do prefer, I've always said, the woman's voice as a co-driver because you have to have a lot of emotion in your voice to describe the different notes, the pace notes that describe the stage for me. And I think the woman's voice does that better for how I understand it, and that's more of what I'm used to, so it'll be good having Rhiannon back in the car.
Yeah, and from what I understand, you guys actually have some notes for a few of these stages, correct?
Yeah, we do. Rhiannon's gone through and sent me the list of stages that are the same and parts of stages that are used. It's not a lot, but it's still a help, because the guys we'll be racing against did this rally last year, most of them, so they get an advantage there, but then the stages we did in 2012 that they won't have notes for, we do. So it's a bit of a win-win for us that we do have probably the same amount of stages as the guys that did it last year. So that's great. And the rally hasn't changed a hell of a lot, but we're just looking forward to getting out on stage 1 and really having a crack and see what we can do because we've got a lot of support from individuals and small businesses, and we're going to be running bonnet names and roof supporters. And I think it adds up to 93 different stickers of supporters we're going to have on this car. So it's going to be a hell of a journey and going to be a big backpack that we're going to be carrying. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, and that's one thing I've always admired about you and Rhiannon and your rally efforts. It seems like a lot of teams and a lot of drivers will they just keep waiting and waiting for the one big sponsor that's going to write them a huge check. and you guys have gone the total opposite route, and it's, hey, let's get a bunch of smaller sponsors at $100 or $200 a piece, and build our program that way. And you've got a lot of names on your car, but at the same day, you end up with the same funding as some of these guys waiting for the one big, I guess, sponsor to come in and just carry everything.
Yeah, and yourself from your own racing, it's very difficult to get that one massive sponsor. It's much better having a family, and that's how I treat our rallying. And Rhiannon and Cass, my girlfriend's been helping out as well. That we run Facebook auctions to sell rally memorabilia to raise money. We get these bonnet supporters and small business stickers, and it does feel like a community, our car. There's a lot of support, and it's good when you check social media or my website. A lot of people are connected to this car and our team, so that feels great as well. I think that gives us that extra 10% push that we really need to get us over the line.
Yeah. Well, what are the expectations? I mean, coming into WRC Spain. I know you guys put this together, but you've got a ton of seat time in in the R2 Fiestas, and and particularly obviously drove a similar car at NEFR and walked away with a victory. I mean, what are the expectations going into Spain?
Yeah, it's hard to know from myself what to expect. I always want to win as a driver. I've never competed against most of the guys in the Drive DMAC series that are racing in it this year, but looking at some of the footage when they started in this car at the first round this year in Portugal, they were taking a bit of getting used to, but now they're 4 rallies in. I've only done 1 rally, so it's going to be a good challenge, but I'd love to be fighting for a podium. We're not going for championship points just because we're coming in for the 1 round. So we'll just push like anything. And I think the gravel's where we need to try and capitalise, because that's more my background, and we start driving on the gravel. So that's going to be good to do. And I think I just need to try and use my maturity and experience from over the years. And we'll see where that leads us.
Yeah. Well, looking forward at 2016, I know this year with funding and some other things, you kind of took a year off. Obviously, you've still done a few rallies, but looking forward at 2016. I mean, what are the plans? Are you still trying to put things together? Kind of what are we looking for?
Yeah, we're still really trying. The main reason competing in Spain is that there's an opportunity to win a drive in a Fiesta R5 for next year's WRC one-off rally. So it's called the Vartan and Touch. If we do well in Spain, we'll get to do the shootout over at M Sport in England in December and compete against other guys for this one-off drive. So that's the short-term goal, to try and win that opportunity, and we'll keep working on other drives from there on that we can't really talk about for now, but I think the shootout's a good goal for now, and we head over to Spain on Thursday night to prepare ourselves nice and early and get ready for the event, and hopefully we can have a good result and carry that momentum into 2016.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're getting ready to hop on a plane here pretty quick, but congrats on one. I guess being able to go and run WRC Spain, but we'll definitely be rooting for you and following along on social media.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. We're going to have a lot of good photos out on our Instagram and Facebook pages, so check it out.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Brendo, and good luck, and we'll have to catch up with you after the rally.
Cheers, mate. It sounds great.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, great interview there. We recorded with Brendan Reeves, able to catch up with him, and always a solid guy, and definitely a very cool that he's running WRC Spain. I mean, how many drivers get a chance to run in the World Rally Championship? I mean, it's definitely a dream to most. To be able to do that. A lot of drivers just never get that opportunity, and I know Brendo's done it a couple years ago in the past, and now things come full circle, and he's able to do it again. So something really, really cool. So the way the show's structured today, we normally would cut to a break right now, but we're not going to do that. We're going to just keep rolling in, and keep rolling in and, chatting away here. And we'll take that break later on after this interview coming up with David Higgins here in just a minute. He should be calling in. But this next segment brought to you by our good friends at Dirtfish Rally School. You can find out more information on the web at www.dirtfish.com. And those of you tuning in on the Down and Dirty Radio Show's website, you can, definitely look down below the player there and be able to get a coupon code for a percentage off at Dirtfish. And they're also running an anniversary special right now as well. But right now, joined on the line by David Higgins. How's everything going, David?
Yeah, really good. Obviously, just got back from the States, so the old jet lag's kicking in quite nice. So you're doing me a good job of keeping awake a bit longer.
Yeah. Well, I got to say, man, things have got to be really, really good right now, my friend. Obviously, I never really wanted to talk about it, and I know throughout the course of the Rally America season, even in our interviews I was able to do with you, I didn't want to mention it because sometimes it's kind of taboo to bring something up like that. But you got to be pretty excited to have the monkey off your back now. I mean, perfect season, only the second one I think in history, right? And Buffum was the only other person to accomplish that.
Yeah, that's right. So, through the year, there's a lot to talk about it. Like, in my opinion, very, very early, because, we all know motorsport can be very cruel at times, and things can go wrong. A $1 part can fail on a car, and you can be stuck on the sidelines. So, the more that there was talking about it, the more I was trying to forget about it, and obviously, when it came to this rally, it was a real long weekend for us because you couldn't help but think that we've just got this one more to do. We've just got to get through it, and it was probably the least enjoyable time I've had in the car for a very long time, to be honest, because it was just so much to lose, and we just didn't want to do or sort of undo any of the hard work that the team has made. So we were trying to concentrate hard, but not really going as quick as we normally go, and you hear every noise, you smell everything from the car and different things, and but it was good, and it was obviously brilliant to pull it off, and I couldn't have done it with a better team than what we've got with our Subaru guys.
Yeah, well, and talking about that, I mean, I know from my experience, even running an event like Vegas Arena where it's 550 miles, and it seems like you start getting closer to the end, and you start almost creating sounds and smells in your head. You're like, oh, no, I know this is failing. I know something's going wrong, and in actuality, it's nothing's the matter, but you start playing games with your head,
Yeah, exactly. There's even things like like even with the sequential gearbox, the harder you change gear, the better it is for the gearbox. But you naturally go into it or try and be softer, and then you don't change as well, and the gear doesn't go in as nice. And we even made a gearbox change in the last service just because I didn't shift properly into two gears because we were struggling a bit in the cold temperatures to get heat into the tyres, so our traction coming out of the slower corners wasn't as good. So the full throttle gear shift wasn't working properly because I was feathering the throttle to get traction, and I didn't get two gears very nice. I'm like, oh yeah, well just we've never put a gear in those gearboxes since we've had them for like 3 years, but you get paranoid, like, oh, just change it anyway, guys. We were creating work for the boys, but I think it was also good for them as well because there's nothing worse than standing around and thinking that something could be a problem and not doing anything about it. And that's where our guys are really very, very good. That they never take anything for granted, and they're always pushing for more and checking things and double checking. That's what's sort of given us the results we'll be able to get with them.
Yeah, well, and I know, kind of following, the entire season, there was some times where, I was nervous for you guys. I mean, especially up until, Ojibwe, which was round 7. This was in the back of everybody's minds, and I know you guys had a little bit of a scary spot there. I mean, coming into the last service that really wasn't even a service. I mean, there was only a few minutes there. It wasn't a proper service. And the team went to work on the car, and, and you guys were having some problems, and you're able to get it back out there. But, it definitely wasn't easy. I mean, I think a lot of people on the outside, I think at one point this season, overnight, you guys may have changed an engine in the car. I mean, this definitely wasn't a cakewalk. No, exactly. I think, a lot of people criticise and say, oh yeah, we're the only manufacturer there and we're the only big team, but we've had the Anton's been down for 2 events, Ken's been, Travis has been there. We've had to beat all these guys on every single opportunity, and these guys have been coming into the rallies with nothing to lose and everything to gain, and just going to those rallies. So
we've had the rallies where we've had to go hard. We've had times where, some, like when we did the engine swap, it was, a precaution change because there was something we didn't quite like in Oregon after the first or the second day of Oregon trail rally. So, we've had our issues. We've had flat tires we've had to fight back from, and it's not been as easy as just we won 8 rallies. It's there's been a lot more along the way from there, and as well as we're having a clean sweep for this championship, it's actually our 14th rally win in a row. So that's an achievement that I think everyone can be very, very proud of, and the fact that every time that car goes back to the workshop, the guys never think or take it for granted, and they'll always be doing a little bit more and pushing a little bit more and seeing what else we can find for it. And that's what's made that 2015 car so special.
Yeah, well, and I know coming into this year, I mean, that was the big story. It was an all-new car, and I know the car you guys had at Snowdrift, it looked quite a bit different than the one you guys had at 100 Acre. I mean, going into this off-season, obviously you guys, I'm from what I understand, not going to build an all-new platform, but there's still a lot of development work to do left with that car, I'm assuming, because it was a new platform for 2015.
Yeah, I think the car was very, very good. We had the new chassis this year. There was some improvement to that, but a lot of the sort of the main running parts were tried and tested parts. But even up until this weekend, we were using a different steering rack assembly and slight modifications to the front cross member, and we're always just doing those little things. So for next year, there's nothing major to do, but at the same time, our guys they don't leave things alone. They'll always be working on something a little bit more and just fine-tuning it really, rather than such a big drastic one. But like you say, going to the start of this year, it was the new chassis. We started the Snowdrift with all the standard panels for 2 reasons really. One, that we weren't 100% ready with the wide body kit, but it was also a fact that when you're bouncing off the snowbanks and everything, the steel panels are a little bit better and don't sort of get brittle and break as easy. So, it was important to have a new car out there and not look like the, rally cars generally struggle with bumpers and things that can fall off them and get mud in them, or you touch something and they fall off. So, we didn't want to have a brand new car out there looking like it's fallen to bits because you've got just like a simple bumper coming off. So that was a little bit of the strategy behind the first event. But then when we came to the second round, the full wide body was on it, and bingo, we had snow again, so it slightly defeated the object a little bit, but hopefully that's all done. And but the car's been absolutely great, and there's normally when you finish a season, you've got quite a big wish list of things that you want to try and push forward and you want to try and do again. And I'd have to sit down for a very, very long time to think of something I'd like more than what I've already got, and that doesn't happen very often as a driver. Yeah, well, and looking at this year, one of the other events I wanted to mention. I mean, it seemed like you guys got in a you and the SRT team there, Vermont. You guys got in a groove, and and you were rolling through the events, and and in comes New England Forest Rally, and this was pitched as literally one of the biggest events in the United States in a very long time. I mean, not only were you there, but Travis, your teammate, showed up. I mean, Block came out. M Sport shipped over a car from Europe. I mean, going into that event, I know you'd posted something onto Twitter, and it was basically a picture of boxing gloves. But I mean, I know you, and you love competition. I mean, that had to have been pretty exciting for you. I mean, just to be able to go and do battle with all these other teams. Yeah, for sure. That was definitely the highlight of my year because, we, as drivers, you crave the most competition you can ever get, and then to be able to win those battles when you've got the best competition, they're for sure the most rewarding. And, we knew that whenever Ken's there, he tries unbelievably hard, and he's got a great car package and a great team behind him as well. So he's always a tough competitor, but. We were really looking forward to, in the past when we've been racing in the championship in 2013 together when he did a full year, we had a great start to the year while he had a bad year, so we were almost thinking, well, second place here will be enough for the championship, and we started to stop almost racing against each other and just chasing the points, and it became a little bit of a sort of anticlimax that we finished the year without having as many head-to-head battles. So I was really looking forward to this year when, the events he was planning on doing, that we could just go out there and not overly think about the championship and just really go out there for the best result we could do. And I think New England showed that when we really had to go maximum, that we had a little bit in the tank, and we were able to set some really, really strong times on the first day that pretty much put us in a position that was going to make it very, very hard for him. And I think he won 2 stays out of the whole rally, which is not the normal when me and him are battling against each other, but it was certainly one where we left it and felt pretty good, and it was definitely one of the highlights of my driving career, not just this year.
Yeah. Well, in talking about that, I know, this year you've been able to bounce back and forth, not only, run Rally America for the championship, you've done a few GRC rounds. I mean, how is that? How is that transition, for you from a stage rally to rallycross? I mean, do you have to flip a switch and drive differently? I mean, how is it when you jump in, one of the GRC cars?
Yeah, when you jump in the cars and drive them, the driving of them isn't massively, it isn't hugely different. But LA was pretty difficult for me, to be honest. I went there and didn't really find a very good setup early on, and chased it too much really, and then I really sort of started trying too many things with the car rather than changing more of myself. And it turned out afterwards I was very heavy on my tyres. It's not really the normal for my driving style, but I was trying to gain too much time on the corner entry, and then I was loading the tyres up too much, and then I'd try and drive a bit calmer, and we didn't quite have the weight transfer where we wanted it to be. So we chased our tails for a long time. Then just before the end of the second day of the meeting, we got the car working very, very well, and then happened to get put in the wall by somebody on the first lap, and then that damages your steering and sets your day off bad. So with GRC you need a lot of luck as well as a good car and a good driver. Where the thing with rallying is you control your own result a lot more. There's nobody else going to influence it. You're not going to drive through a stage and suddenly have a guy ram you off the road. So that's the biggest thing to sort of adjust to, that you can't control everything. Where rallying, yourself, your co-driver, your team, if we all do a good job, we know we've got a very, very good chance. Where GRC, you could have still all of all those ingredients, but if somebody else decides to give you a smack in the wrong place, then it's game over. And that's something that if I get the chance to do any more racing, I'd certainly focus on a little bit more. And I've done some gearbox karting again since, just to get back up to the sort of the racing speed and a bit more different things, because the sports are very, very different, although they're very similar at the same time.
Yeah, well, and I've always viewed GRC, I mean, GRC and stage rally kind of like we have in desert racing, where we've got short course and, and open desert stuff, which I do, but seems like GRC, I mean, at times it's, stage rally, maybe not so much. I mean, but the GRC is definitely almost a game of inches. It's just a few inches here, a few inches there. I mean, we see that in stage rally, but GRC, I mean, it can drastically affect your times.
Yeah, for sure. It's there's a lot of you've got to be. Qualifying is important to get into with a good group, but then if somebody else has a bad qualifying and gets out into a different heat, and you've got to be quick off the line. You've got to be quick into the first corner, and you've got to be rough as well, because although it's not meant to have too much contact, they seem to allow a lot more than what they say. Although, to be fair, the last 2 races I've done, I found myself in the penalty box both times. So maybe it's just a new boy getting picked on. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, looking at the off season, and heading into, I guess Snowdrift to kick off 2016. I mean, what happens to David Higgins from here on out? Obviously, you're looking to, I'm sure, enjoy some time at home in the UK.
Yeah, we've got some quite big things that are going to be announced quite soon. So I think there's going to be a little bit of my break at home isn't going to come that quickly just yet, but I can't really say anything about anything at the moment. But we're going to be busier for a few more weekends yet this year, and then once that gets done, December time is always very busy with my rally school, and we're in the process of selling the business as well, so I can concentrate on more time in America for next year again. So there's a lot going on. It's very, very busy, but the main focus really is just to once you get a little bit of a break at home, push really hard at the training again. I'll try and do a few more mountain bike races, and stay on the shifter cart and do as much driving as I can be doing as well, and just sort of focus and try and have a bit of a break over Christmas time, recharge the batteries, and go again for another year.
Yeah. Well, and how do you approach Snowdrift Rally? I mean, the first rally of the year, you come off of doing a bunch of, gravel rallies and, and I mean, it's such a unique event. We ended up having 2 snow rallies this past year, but, how do you and the team, approach that? I mean, driving style is drastically different on the snow than it is, for the 7 other rounds in Rally America.
Yeah, for sure. It's difficult. There's no doubt about it. And I think most gravel rallies or even tarmac rallies, you can go to the event and not really do much of a test, or you can just turn up and pretty much put the car out onto the stage and know how you're going to drive it straight away. But Snowdrift is one of those events where, for me as a driver, I really need to have at least a day and a half in the car before the rally, just to get used to, how hard it is again, and how long your braking distances are, and how smooth you're going to be on the throttle and everything else. And it's so much more about getting the driver and the co-driver dialed into the changes of the speed and the grip more than it is really getting the car set up. Normally when you're chasing a test, it's all about car development, do this, do that. But with the Snowdrift, it's just the driver is so easy to make a mistake. A small spin or you get stuck in a snowbank or something, and it's game over. So the driver and co-driver really have to be up to speed on that one, and know what you can push and where you can't push, and get used to the levels of grip, and try and find a tyre that gives you the most confidence. And sometimes what we like in motorsport, what can be absolutely brilliant one weekend is your worst enemy with the next one. It's just something can click, and it sometimes can go into your head that you don't like it anymore, and it's things can change. So it's important to do a good solid test, get a nice feel for the car again. And I really, really enjoy the event because it's probably the biggest challenge you'll ever have in a rally car, in my opinion. There's no studs. It's a real sort of balancing act all the time to how hard you push and how much you hold back. And when you think of that, how much I've improved on those conditions since I've been going to America again, it's like when we first went, we sort of tootled around thinking you couldn't go any faster, and you're finding it really hard work. And now we're up in 120 miles an hour in places, and for a long, long time in 6th gear, and what levels of snow we've got, different levels of grip and things. So it's pretty tough. But again, I love it. It's a great atmosphere with the fans that go out there with the bonfires and trying to stay warm and everything. So it's a big challenge for everybody.
Yeah. Well, and how has it been with Craig? I mean, obviously you guys have been in the car, quite some time together at this point. But it seems like this year you guys, obviously you've got a few years worth of notes built up now, and you know what I mean, and you've been able to go over them and refine them. And how has it been with Craig? I mean, I know you call him the voice of speed, but it seems like this year you guys hit another level.
Yeah, I think we work really, really hard between events, going through videos and making sure our preparation is done a long, long time before we get to the event. And I think that where me and Craig have got like a really good relationship is we're really good mates as well. So when we get to an event, and we know how to make each other perform at our best now. Where in the earlier times it wasn't always as easy, but we have our light-hearted moments and sometimes just look like we're fooling around, but then, we get in the car and go, and it's all serious and all action. But at the same time, if you're not enjoying it and you're not having fun, then what's the point in doing it? There's lots of other jobs you can do that are less stressful than what we do. So it's important that you get on, it's important that you have a good laugh, but it's also, the hours and hours and hours of work that we do, going through our videos, going through our pace notes, before events and everything. That's where it sort of pays off when you get to the race day. But that comes from us both really being really hungry to win, and we're both very, very bad losers, to be honest. So, but it's knowing.
Oops, looks like we lost David there. You there, David? Well, looks like we lost David. I don't know what's going on. You there, David?
Hello, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, no, we lost you there for a second. I don't know, maybe that UK to the US connection got a little wonky, but
maybe I need to put another dollar in the meter.
Yeah. No, I think we caught most of it, but before we let you go, I just wanted to congratulate you. I mean, it's been an honor being able to cover the series this year, and been able to tell the story from Snowdrift, pretty much all through the end now, and it's such a huge accomplishment. I know what you and Craig and the entire team have put in, to make this happen. So congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Jim, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, David, and I guess enjoy your family and being at home for for a few weeks at least.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it. And say hello to my old teammate Dave Mirra for me as well, please.
I will for sure.
Cool.
All right.
Have a good one.
Yeah. Thanks, David.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, that was David Higgins, your 2015 Rally America Open Class champion, overall champion. Second person in history to claim a perfect season in Rally America. The only other one was John Buffum, and that was quite some time ago. And Buffum now, absolute legend. He's actually in the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame. I know that's coming up for you Desert Heads, but Buffum, it just actually is kind of an advisor there for Subaru, and he's been this season every step of the way along with David and Craig, and just a tremendous moment for Subaru Rally Team USA. I mean, being able to see what they've put in in that effort to make this happen, truly remarkable. And and it truly was pretty amazing to cover the entire championship this year with Rally America Radio. But don't forget, this segment being brought to you by Dirtfish Rally School. Find out more information at dirtfish.com. We're going to get to those results from LSPR Rally. It's Lake Superior Performance Rally up there in northern Michigan. And, kind of weather starting to change, and, we had those beautiful conditions earlier in the year, and, it's, starting to get a little cold up there. It was a little bit different for these guys, but David Higgins, Craig Drew coming out on top. The local boy, Adam Yeoman, this is his home rally, second open class, second overall. Solid effort there by Adam Yeoman, a little less than 2 minutes back from David Higgins. Yeoman just has come into his own as a rally driver this year, I think, and he's definitely pushed a lot of times. And, there's a couple times throughout the year I think he actually took some stage victories away from David. So, Adam definitely, pushing the envelope this year for sure. Lachlan O'Sullivan, Scott Putnam, wrapping up their championship with a third overall and a first in super production. Peter Fatella, I think that was his best result of the year, third in open class, fourth outright. Looks like he's got a new car coming in 2016 as well. George Plasek and Natalie Richard finding themselves in the top five and fourth in open class as well. We had Art Grushka there in sixth, fifth in open class. And your two-wheel drive winner down there in eighth position, first in two-wheel drive, Futoshi Murasi taking home the win. We had Tim O'Neill in second, and don't see Tim in a car very often, but definitely was there at LSPR. Stoked to see him in Fiesta R2. Second in two-wheel drive, and then in third in two-wheel drive, first in B-Spec, James Robinson. Man, he was dialed in this year. Just a tremendous effort by James Robinson. Gary Gill, second in super production, 11th outright. Steve LaRosa, third in two-wheel drive. Fourth, I guess, in overall two-wheel drive. He was your rookie of the year. It looks like we're going to have, at some point soon, we're going to have Steve LaRosa on air for an interview. Desert guy turned rally racer. Be a fun story to tell there. And then Tracy Gardner, 13th outright, second in B-Spec. She wrapped up her season there in the Toyota Yaris. So great event up there at LSPR. I know a few names missing from the entry list, but it's the last round of the year. Happens in desert racing. Happens at a lot of events, but tremendous event there. Other rally competition happening over the weekend. We had FI World Rallycross Championship happening in Italy. And our boy Backaroo Blue, my good friend Andreas Backaroo, taking home the victory there. Johan Christofferson in second. Petter Solberg third. Anton Marklin, Manfred Stoll, and Timur Timorzanov rounding out your top 6 in the finals. Your current points standings. Petter Solberg, 279 points. Timmy Hansen, 253. And Johan Kristoffersen in third with 228. Rounding out your top 5, it's Andreas Backerud and Davy Janey. RX Lights there in Italy. Got to give a shout-out to Kevin Eriksson, who took the victory there. Kevin Hansen in second, and Joachim Haval in third. Oliver Eriksson running RX Lights. Normally see him in GRC Lights, but making his way across there, finishing up in fourth. Great effort by him. Great effort by him as well. And looking at the calendar here, World RX Argentina, the only one left, end of November. That is left November 27th down there in Argentina. But Lights, your champion, it looks like Kevin Hansen wrapping that championship up there. For the RX Lights, they are not traveling with World RX down there to Argentina. So, that is your results from FI World Rallycross Championship. That interview, as well as Rally America results, all brought to you by our good friends at Dirtfish Rally School. Find out more information on the web, www.dirtfish.com. And don't forget, 20% off currently at Dirtfish's website on all classes for their 5th anniversary sale. Definitely check that out. We're going to take a short commercial break. We come back. Amy Hood's going to be calling in. We're going to be talking some Monster Energy Cup. All that more on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, episode number 200.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When RJ Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning Razor XP1000. RJ is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris Razors to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris Razors RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris Razor vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XT Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XT Series wheels at kmcwheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other.
The Great Abella has come to Blue Water Resort and Casino. The Great Abella knows what your future holds. Gifts, riches, opportunity. Every Saturday through October 24th, you can consult with the Great Abella. Earn just 500 base points on your club card each Saturday to swipe your card at the Great Abella Fortune Teller kiosk and learn what awaits you. HD TVs, iPads, GoPros, Xboxes, and more. Even free slot play or cash. The Great Abella will see you Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. only at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, episode number 200. And I got to tell you, man, we have packed a ton of interviews into an hour and a half so far. 90 minutes of fun. Dave Mirra, Joe Duncan, Brendan Reeves, Rally America champ David Higgins, and now we're gonna get to having some fun. My co-host, partner in crime, sidekick, whatever you want to call her, Amy Hood's going to be calling in just a minute. We're going to be talking some Monster Energy Cup. She was there on ground in Vegas, taking in all the fun, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun to talk about that. And speaking of her, this is Amy Hood.
Now, where the hood at? You better bust that if you don't pull that. Where the hood at?
What's happening, Amy? You're back at the North Pole, right?
Hey, how's it going? Every time I hear that song, I just feel a little bit more gangster than I truly am. But what's up? Happy Monday.
Yeah. You're the one who picked your intro music. It's not me. So if you're feeling gangster, I guess you're ready to brawl or something, right?
Well, it's just also to kind of remind people how to actually spell my last name or pronounce my last name, sorry. But, everybody gets it wrong. So I just had to kind of leave that long-lasting impression of, hood life, that super hood life.
Yeah. I've had more people laugh at our intro now that we changed it up, and you know what I mean? We've got yours in there, and you're talking about how to say your name, and I've had so many people just crack up at that.
Yeah.
So
they just got to start figuring it out already. So got to get rid of the stuff.
Yeah. So I got to say, episode number 200 today. You have been with us darn near a year now, almost a year. We're getting pretty darn close. But this actually today marks 1 year since your first appearance on the show, back before we had any idea that this would happen. So, we're right at 1 year since, I think I played a clip of yours on the show like a year ago, one of your clips from YouTube, and we got to talking on Twitter, and here we go. A year later, you're on the show full time, and yeah.
Was I on for the first time about my video about racer chasers?
I can't remember. There was somebody tagged me in a video of yours, and I played the clip because it may have been Racer Chasers. It was just funny. I was literally cracking up when I saw it. I'm like, I have to play that clip on the show. I played it on the show, and when I did, I tagged you, and you sent me a message like, did you really just play that on your show? And I'm like, yeah, and I don't know. We had you on air, and and here we go a year later. I don't know. Took a couple months, and then we got you involved with Supercross, and I don't know. Here we go, right?
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah,
it's awesome how things kind of, come into play and create long-lasting relationships. And now I feel like you're pretty much family. And we always talk about it, but you're on speed dial, and I probably call you like 4 times a day to either ask you a question, talk about something, or even just share my exciting news with you because we're both part of the same industry and we both get excited over the same thing, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny because and I get people hit me up all the time like, how did you and Amy get linked up together and and stuff like that, and I'm like, honestly, at this point, I don't know, but it works, and like you said, we've become good friends, and I don't know, we're always texting and and calling and whatever, and bounce ideas off each other, and it works, right?
Totally.
So let's talk Monster Energy Cup. Enough with this, whatever. I want to talk Monster Energy Cup. I wasn't there, but you were, and I'm kind of bummed out I wasn't there, to be honest with you. But looks like you guys had a ton of fun. Let's talk about the racing first.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I mean, Monster Energy Cup is such a cool event. It's kind of wrapping up the 2015 series, but also is, a little bit of like a highlight into what to expect for 2016 Supercross series. So, there's not all the riders show up. I mean, it's kind of like a no-pressure race other than for the top guys who are in it for that Monster Million. But it's a really cool event because they have like a huge BMX, or like I guess it's BMX, like a BMX track set up. They got the best whip. They got tons of stuff going on in the pits. It's really, really cool venue for the fans. I mean, even like for me, when the practice wasn't on, I was in the pits watching something else going down. So it's pretty cool. And they had a really stacked lineup of BMX racers. So it was a really, really cool sight to see. And I mean, I always like best whip too, so it's something interesting. But I mean, racing was definitely a sight to see. I mean, there was Kennard, who almost won the Monster Million last year, Roxon, Dungey, and Stewart. So those are the kind of the top four guys I had my money bet on for winning this weekend. And I mean, everybody was there to kind of see the Stewart, Roxon, and Dungey battle. More so Stewart and Dungey, but even Dungey said, like, he's going to have to come back and regroup, and it was kind of a depiction of, like, where he's at and stuff. But I am really, really pumped for Ken Roxon. He did fantastic, kind of showed that, he took his struggles last year, and they're doing something right because, I mean, the guy was on fire. But I'm pumped because Jason Anderson is such a gnarly dude on a dirt bike, and he did not let Ken Roxon get away from him. But it was so funny because he tweeted one other fool to add to the list of people who missed the Joker lane. Poor guy missed it the first race and got I think it was like 6 places backwards. But oh my goodness, it was such an awesome race. I loved it. It was good. But it's kind of sad that the first moto, both Stewart and Kennard went down because then then the only person who was left after was Ken Roxon to win them that Monster Million. But it's too bad that Stewart went out with a wrist injury. Kind of not too happy with his decision. I feel like he should have come back to kind of prove himself the next 2 motos. But it is what it is. That's a Stewart for you.
Yeah, well, and I don't know. I mean, you never know what the heck's going on there. And James Stewart, I mean, he's just James Stewart. Obviously, we know he's
quotations wrist injury. Like, I don't know. I mean, I have to say, it did take him a little while to get up. So I believe he has a wrist injury. I don't believe he has a wrist injury. I can tell you.
Yeah, well, and knowing him, obviously, he's a Red Bull guy. Went to Straight Rhythm. He killed it there. He's got to be. His sights are set on 2016. I mean, this was just kind of a phone in. I think he showed up because he could, but I still got to say. I mean, I think you look at 2016. I think Stewart and Roxon and Dungey. I mean, and Anderson. I mean, they're going to have a battle.
Yeah, and what I like about Anderson is he's such a hungry racer. He has never won a championship in the 450s. These other guys have been there for a little while, and he's always been the guy who just step it up the next year. Like, every year he just gets faster and stronger and more hungry, and he has something to prove because, he has everything to prove. So I can see him now going back to the drawing board. His Husqvarna team they have some of the best bikes out there, and such a strong team, such a good manager, and I really do think that he's going to be able to put in the homework and come back at A1 and be, on that next level. And I think there's no doubt in my mind that he does not have that talent to put Roxon in his place. I mean, I hate to say it, when you've won a couple championships, sometimes you get a little comfortable, and he still hasn't yet. So he has more to prove than those other guys.
Yeah.
And he's just so gnarly. Like, he just throws it all out there, and I never expected him to be able to hang with Roczen like he did, and no, he's I would put money on him for 2016. He's extremely consistent. He's really aggressive, and he's really, really talented. So it's just a kind of a fireball mixture right there.
Yeah. Well, and I want to mention Davey Millsaps. I mean, Davey, he's a guy who a couple years ago he was making a run, against Villapoto at the Supercross Championship, goes down for an injury. Then we had the shenanigans of last year, and at this point, nobody really knows what the hell happened. But he's back, and he's on a KTM. I mean, what are we expecting in 2016 out of Davey?
I don't know. I think he'll be there, and I think he'll be in the mix. I don't see him battling for anything. He's not even in top 5. I think he'll be there. I think he'll just be there. That's about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, again, there's Kennard. I mean, Kennard had to get off on the first moto, but Kennard is an extremely talented Supercross rider. He's just had so much talent, that dude. I mean, he can be out all year with an injury, come back like the next day, and just wax everybody. And he just loves what he does, and he has such a positive outlook and such a good demeanor about him that he has no reason not to be successful. So yeah, I mean, I really do see 2016 being up to Kennard, Ryan Dungey, Jason Anderson, and Ken Roczen. I don't even know what I can say about Stewart. I mean, Stewart's going to have a couple wins under his belt, but I think he's going to have a couple DNFs. He's so inconsistent.
Yeah.
So unless he can figure out the consistency route, I don't see him battling for the championship. I really don't.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that because I love the guy, but I mean, look what happened. First moto, like third lap, it all went downhill. So. Yeah.
Well, and how about the guy that I think we're already forgetting about, Marvin? What do we say about Marvin? He's moving up to 450s, correct? I mean.
Yeah, what's his move to 450s? It's kind of we're going to have to wait and see come that first moto. I haven't seen any news on him and how he's been doing in testing, how he's been able to handle the 450. I'm going to have to do my homework to see where he sits. But Marvin is Marvin. He is extremely talented as well. But I don't know where he's going to be. A lot of these guys have had some long, been on a 450 at least for a year, if not more. And I mean, Jason Anderson made the transition very well, but Jason is also a lot bigger, stronger of a dude, so we'll have to see where his fitness level is at and what his conditioning is like, because the 450s is always much, bikes are a lot heavier, the riders are a lot more experienced, you're battling with, 10 riders instead of 2, so there goes a completely different type of training regime almost,
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's going to be wild. I'm looking forward forward to the next couple months. I'm sure silly season's going to be off the hook for the next 2 months, and speculation and this and that, and we haven't even talked about 250s and what the heck's going on there.
No, and a lot of 250 guys. I mean, like Cooper, Jeremy. A lot of people fly under the radar. You don't hear anything about them. They train in Florida. They train at private tracks. But that's always the best way to keep it. Keep their training under wraps so that they can show up and clean up. And it becomes a really private program. You don't want people knowing where you are so that they can, use you as a buffer and use you to design their programs and stuff. It becomes very, very classified. But that's what makes it so interesting, because A1, you never know what you're going to get. So, but, I really do like that Ken Roczen stepped it up here for Monster Energy Cup, because we all knew he had it in him. It just, he needed to click that serious level up a notch, where now I feel like he's finally in the groove that we all know he was obviously capable of being in. It was just a matter of time. It's just a matter of when is everything going to click for him, because, he certainly is somebody who can claim that greatest of all time, just like Carmichael. He is, he's a guy on fire, and everybody loves Ken Roczen, so.
Yeah, he's ridiculously fast. I think Dungey's definitely got a target on his back. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, he definitely does, and he has, I just said it. He won last year. There's 14 other guys now who want to claim what he has. So, sometimes you can fall into a little bit of a comforting cushion where you're like, oh, I won already. You're not hungry. You don't have that need to prove yourself. So, a lot of these other guys just didn't want it, and they were so close. I mean, Ken was so close last year, and he wants it.
Yeah.
And he's grown up a lot as a rider in the last couple of years. He's much more consistent, and he's smart. He doesn't push it before he needs to. He's really matured in his decision making on the track. So.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Let's move things a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about Halloween, because I know that you and I have had a project that we were talking about 6 months ago at some point. We needed to roll it out next week, but we were talking about doing something, like the best 10 best zombie apocalypse vehicles or something like that, doing a segment on air. I think we need to roll it out next week because Halloween's coming.
Yeah, for sure. I'm down totally. I mean, you guys should hit me up on DM on Instagram or Twitter and let me know what your kind of getaway vehicle would be for a zombie apocalypse. But I don't know if I've told anybody, but for Halloween, my ultimate go-to costume is something zombie related. So last year I was a zombie rock star girl. I had a foot peg going into my head. It was actually pretty funny. The year before I was like a zombie Playboy bunny. Girls always choose that sexy, hot outfit for Halloween that they could get away with, pushing the limits a bit. I'm like, cool, I'll do that, but I want to be a zombie too. So I always am half dead creature, half something kind of cute or whatever. But it's pretty funny because I just love doing makeup. I love putting blood all over me. This year I think I'm going to be, I don't know, a zombie something. I can tell you that.
Yeah. What's your favorite zombie movie? Let's put you on the spot here.
Zombie movie, I don't really have one, but I really like the Walking Dead TV show. So I wasn't really much about zombies before. I always thought it was really stupid, that whole zombie craze and fad that was going around the world. But holy smokes, when I watched The Walking Dead, I just fell in love with zombies. So yeah. I got a new appreciation for it.
Yeah, no, I totally am into Walking Dead. They've got their new spinoff series. I watched that. It's funny because, I don't know, I think Corey Weller, she's a huge Walking Dead fan too. I think I had that conversation with her last time we had her on air, but that show is just, it's not even about the zombies. It's, everybody's like, why is this so crazy? And if you haven't watched it, I think it's just about the people, the storylines. The zombies are part of it, but it's not necessarily, what it's all about.
Well, I used to be really scared of horror movies. Growing up, I always watched horror movies until Saw started coming out, and I loved the Saw movies. But I don't know what happened, but I did a 180 one day, and I just could not deal with horror movies. I actually went to Sinister a couple Halloweens ago, and I had to leave the theater because I was so scared. I don't mind blood and guts and goriness, but when stuff pops out at you, no way. I just can't do that crap. No, can't do it. I get anxiety just waiting for something to pop out at you. So I don't know what's wrong, but
you know what's coming, and then
I start The Walking Dead until it came out on Netflix because I'm I can't do this. There's no way I can do this. But it's a little bit more on the gory side rather than the pop out side. So I can do gory.
Yeah.
I don't know for what reason, but yeah.
You know what I can't handle in horror movies is the creepy little girl. For some odd reason, anytime there's a creepy little girl involved, that's either a ghost or they're about 5 or 6 years old and they come out in the white dress and their face is all I can't handle the creepy little girl. That just.
Oh, yeah. And they have a little laugh ha ha, follow me into the death of the doom. Yeah, no. And see, what's that one movie The Grudge? And the pretty little girl and comes out of the TV and stuff. Nah.
Yeah.
No.
No, you lose me there.
Because they're really they're kind of mentally twisting, how the whole story with him having cancer and just the whole storyline to the Saw movies were really, really interesting. It was definitely a thriller that I wish they still made more Saws because it was really twisted.
Yeah. Oh, and we haven't even talked about this. Geez, we're talking about movies and everything else. Nitro Circus, well, I guess not Nitro Circus, but Travis Pastrana's new film, Action Figures, drops tomorrow.
Yes, I can't wait. I don't know if it's going to be in Winnipeg yet. So like I have to check into that because I know some places it's selective. But
yeah, because I think it's a.
So I mean, I watched the first one. It was rad. It was so crazy, and so that's the thing. I know they do everything every year bigger and better. So I can't wait to see what they're going to do for this one because the last one was just insane. They always push the boundaries, and it'll definitely be awesome.
I know there's so much stuff I know that I'm camping on that I know happens in the film, and and I know there's I think possibly some theater rollouts, but I think for everybody else it drops on iTunes tomorrow. I don't know if it's for rent, but I know
perfect.
You can buy
Okay, good. Then I'm gonna go and pre-order it. So I should probably have an action figures movie party at my house. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh, that sounds like a ton of fun. Too bad I'm half a world away from the North Pole. But no,
you are.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's so you listeners, definitely Action Figures drops tomorrow. I know it's available for pre-order on iTunes, and you can download it. They're on tour. Shoot, I think next week they're up in Winnipeg.
Yep.
A couple weeks later, I was texting with Tommy yesterday. They're going to be in Phoenix. So we're gonna both get our dose of Nitro Circus.
I know. I can't wait. I've never actually seen a show live, so I'm really, really, really excited. It's going to be so cool.
It's if you haven't been live yet, it's absolutely your mind's going to be blown. It's like the easiest way to put it, and like I've told everybody, whether you're talking BMX, skateboarding, or dirt bikes, it's an X Games best trick contest, but it's every night on tour.
Oh my goodness.
So
man, that's just so insane.
Yeah, and
hopefully I'll be able to see Bruce pull out a backflip again. So that's kind of my stunt that I'm waiting to see.
Yeah, he I know he did it again, so it wasn't like it was a one-off. I think he's literally back on tour now, backflipping. But I know we want to get him on air next week, so hopefully we can do that and dial him in. I know they got a few days off
really cool.
in Winnipeg, so you might be able to see everybody.
Well, I had the opportunity actually to go see a movie premiere called Unchained, which was the evolution of freestyle motocross on Saturday. Actually, it was Friday night when I was in Vegas. You know what? I'm not big on watching kind of like freestyle films. Obviously, now that I've kind of, made a little bit of a transition to the freestyle world, it was so incredible. I actually got to see the story of the first backflip, kind of the controversy between Metzger and Carey Hart. Metzger landing the first backflip, like Carey trying it. And then they also showed the story of Travis and how he kind of got, addicted to the freestyle world when he was like 12 years old, showed up when these guys had this jump, and here's this little 12-year-old kid that's like, can I hit it? And, how Krusty kind of brought him in. It was really, really cool, so interesting, and you guys stay tuned. I know Unchained is going to be coming out in the next couple of months here. We kind of got the first private screening, but it was fantastic. Everybody was on their seats. It was such a cool movie. I'll have to hunt down the producer and see if we can bring him on air to talk a little bit more about it, because they had the coolest old school footage and just such cool stories, and it was awesome, better than I ever expected, to be honest.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely have to get the producer on if you can get that dialed in. That'd be awesome. It's funny because you mentioned a couple names there. I mean, guys like Metzger. I mean, Krusty Demons of Dirt. You just don't hear about them anymore. And I mean, these guys 10, 15 years ago were on top of the world.
And I had no idea. I'm 26 years old, so a lot of these guys now have families and children, and so I never grew up in that era where these guys are making their debut, and the very first freestyle competitions were like no-handers and no-footers, and how that transitioned to knack-knacks and then ultimately the backflip, and then just how every year that door kept getting pushed open wider and wider, and it was really, really cool. And I didn't know how freaking crazy Brian Higgins was. I didn't know that they actually had freestyle motocross at the Winter X Games. Like, just being younger and part of the younger generation, I really did not know this evolution of freestyle and where it was to where it is now. And so I really do think that everybody should, get the opportunity to watch this video, because it blows my mind how things started to where it is now. And it just kind of wraps your head around where is it going to be. And 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. You know, it's very, very surreal. So, and it's such a cool video. So again, Unchained. Stay tuned. I'm gonna try to hunt down the producer and get him on the show because it was just. He's so cool. He's done a lot of films too. He's done a lot of stuff. He's the original Krusty producer. So. Yeah, it'd be cool to kind of pick his brain.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and it's just, to me, action sports as a whole, it's crazy the level it's taken. I mean, you talk to a guy like Ronnie Feist, and he's like, I'm glad I'm not even doing it anymore. He's like, it's just
yeah, you know, a lot of people say that.
You know, I mean, I just had Dave Mirra on air, and, you know, he literally is the most decorated X Games athlete in history for any sport. And, you know, and he's going, like, what these guys are doing on a BMX bike now, he's like, no, thank you, glad I'm retired. You know what I mean? It's just crazy.
BMX is nuts. Yeah, and it's funny because they talk about that in the video, too, how, you know, now, like, first off, they never thought the backflip was even possible. And now, that's basically your freaking, if you can't do a backflip, you can't even get started. So it's pretty insane how it's come. And, you know, Travis ultimately is the one who's setting the bar for these things, doing the double backflip. But, no, it's really exciting to see where it's going to go. And, you know, how all the other – they talk a lot about how the athletes feel about the level of, you know, where the tricks are at nowadays and the level of gnarliness. And it's cool to hear their opinion, too, not just the fans and, you know, the sponsors, but, you know, how the athletes really feel about it. And they're scared and they're a little intimidated. But, yeah, no, it's such a dope video. I want to watch it again.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing that. I know it's been coming for a long time, and stoked you were able to get to see it. I can't wait for it to drop on DVD. But yeah, if we can line up a producer, that'd be awesome. So,
for sure.
Other than that, I don't know. We're kind of winding things down here, but episode number 200 going to be in the books, and I don't know. We got more, I don't know, lots of fun guests coming up, and lots more good stuff, some remote stuff. I know be at SEMA, airing some shows, and hopefully you're able to make it down to SEMA. But lots of cool stuff coming.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, 2016 is creeping up on us, and I think it's going to be the most fantastic year ever, especially for me. I have lots of stuff going on, and I think 2016 is going to be a sick year. So I just kind of want to get it over with here. Like, let's wrap this up. Let's get to November and January 1st.
Yeah, exactly, right? And, yeah, I got so much stuff I've got to get dialed in and contracted within the next month. And I told the listeners to open the show, you know, episode number 200, we're not going away. We have such huge news we're literally sitting on, biting our tongues. We want to talk about, and we just can't. And literally, if you're a fan of the show, hang tight. If you're a fan of Amy, myself, it doesn't matter. We have some blockbuster stuff going to drop for 2016. So,
heck yeah! You know, it's cool because I hear a lot of people, a lot of my, you know, my athlete friends, my professional racer friends, and you know, everyone talks about 2016 going to be big for them, and it's really exciting that we can all kind of share growth and share excitement. And yeah, I know I'm really happy for all my friends who are doing really well. So.
For sure. All right, Amy. Well, thank you. And I guess it's been a year now, so here's to a few more, right?
So crazy. Yeah, no, thank you so much. I appreciate you for even giving me the opportunity and having me on board. And I know some days are pretty crazy because I run around all day working and then make time for the show, but I can't wait to be able to make this a full-time priority and, you know, hopefully be on with you for like 2 hours or 3 hours or, you know, I'm going to boot you off. I'm going to run show. Just joking.
Oh, it would be fun to have. We'll have to do that next year sometime. We'll have like the Amy Hood edition of the show, and you host, you book all the interviews, and I just kind of sit back and let things roll.
I will bring you in just to make some small little comments.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, God, that'd be a disaster.
No, we're going to have to do it sometime next year. It's happening. It's going to be the Hood edition of the show, and you're running things, you book the interviews, and I'm just literally the peanut gallery, so...
We'll see about that one.
Yeah. All right,
okay,
Amy.
Well, you take it easy, and I'm having a pretty chill weekend. I mean, I had to give my bike back to Honda already because our season's wrapped up. So I think I might be doing a little bit of riding out at the lake, and I'm going to be riding my dad's 450. So we'll have some fun stories about that.
Nice. All right, Amy. Well, take it easy.
Take it easy.
We'll talk soon.
Okay, have a good one.
Yeah,
Bye.
You too. Bye. All right, that was Amy Hood. Always fun catching up with her, and like she said, hoping to have her a little more often next year. And well, she's on air every show, but maybe more frequently, like for the whole show. But anyways, lots of events coming up. Obviously, Terracross finale, Camp Razor, Enduro Cross, Global Rally Cross finale from Vegas, Stadium Super Trucks Australia, Lucas Oil finale this weekend, SEMA show coming up. I don't know. From the bottom of my heart, though, I got to thank you fans. Episode number 200, and not something I ever even fathomed would happen. And, and I can honestly say we're definitely going to be here for a few more 100 episodes with the way things are working for sure. So you guys make it happen. As always, we try and get your guests on air. This is a fan-driven show. It's all about you guys. So, if you got something you want to hear, you want us to cover, hit me up. Let me know. We always look forward to hearing from you fans. Got to give a shout-out to Polaris Razor, General Tire, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish Rally School, UPR.com, Blue Resort and Casino, JMR Performance Brakes, KMC Wheels, Parker Motor Company, Gibson Exhaust, MTX Audio, and Intensities. Give me a follow at JimBeaver15 on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook.com/Down and Dirty Show. Also on Periscope at JimBeaver15 or at AmyHood71 on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow her as well. Got our app available on Apple iTunes, Google Play, and the Amazon Kindle store. And, we'll be back at you next week for more Down and Dirty Radio Show. Thank you for tuning in. Episode number 200 officially in the books. We'll be back with 201 next Monday. And as always, game on.